Hi, boys and girls. It's Mr. Fallon, back with another episode of Spot Run Storytime. Today, we're continuing through the book, Wayside School Gets a Little Stranger. We've been reading this book during Good Morning Muscles. If you haven't been watching Good Morning Muscles, make sure you go back, watch those. We've been having so much fun and getting so strong. Today, we're on Chapter 11. Chapter 11 is called Voices. So get up, get spot running. Let's hear all about it. My name is Mr. Gorf, said the man who stepped out of the closet, and surprising as it may seem, the children weren't afraid. It was his voice. His voice was full of comfort and wisdom, like an old leather chair in a dusty library. It didn't matter what he said. It felt good just to listen to him. He was a handsome man, with neatly combed brown hair and clean fingernails. He carried a brown briefcase. Nobody even noticed that his nose had 3 nostrils. Since I am going to be your teacher for the next few months, let me tell you a bit about myself. I was born in the Himalayan mountains, in a town called Kathmandu. Kathmandu, said Terence. Cool. Everyone laughed. They weren't laughing at Terence. There was something about the name of the city and the way Terence said it. Terence's voice was like a rusty drainpipe. Have you ever been married? Asked Allison. Allison's voice was like a cat walking across the piano. No, I'm a bachelor, said Mr. Gorf. Allison smiled, greatly relieved. Well, that's enough about me, said Mr. Gorf. How about some of you tell me about yourself? My name is Mac, said Mac, without raising his hand. Mac's voice was like a freight train. I built the biggest snowman you ever saw. Man, it was huge. I had to stand on a ladder to put the hat on his head. It was a stovepipe hat like Abraham Lincoln wore, but I don't know why they call it that. We have a microwave oven. Have you ever put a bag of marshmallows in a microwave oven? Man, it's like... Mr. Gorf's nose flared. His right nostril flared to the right. His left nostril flared to the left. And the hole in the middle seemed to get larger. Mac coughed. He tried to speak, but no words came out. Thank you, Mac, said Mr. Gorf. Anyone else? Dee Dee raised her hand. Yes, young lady, said Mr. Gorf. Dee Dee giggled. She liked the way he said young lady. My name is Dee Dee, she said. Her voice was small but full of energy, like a super ball. I like soccer and Ninja Turtles. My favorite... Mr. Gorf's nose flared. Dee Dee lost her voice too. Who's next? Asked Mr. Gorf. Yes, the girl in the polka dot shirt. My name's Mauricia, said Mauricia. I have 2 brothers and 1 sister. Mauricia's voice was like a pineapple milkshake. Mr. Gorf sucked it up through his nose. Hey, what's going on? Said Todd. Todd was silent. Look at his nose, shouted Eric Bacon. It has... Eric Bacon had nothing else to say. Nobody say anything, Jenny tried to warn. Her voice disappeared up Mr. Gorf's nose. Soon the class was quiet. Mr. Gorf's middle nostril had snorted all their voices, except for Allison. She remained silent. She knew she'd only get 1 chance to speak, and she had to wait for just the right moment. What good little boys and girls you are, said Mr. Gorf. So nice and quiet, he laughed. Of course this isn't my real voice, he said. I stole this voice from a gentleman I met in Scotland. He touched the tip of his nose. This is my voice, he squawked. If a donkey could talk, and if the donkey had a sore throat, and if it spoke with a French accent, that was what Mr. Gorf's voice sounded like. But what he said next was even more horrible than his voice. Mrs. Gorf was my mommy. The children sat frozen in their chairs, too scared to move. Suddenly there was a knock on the door. Mr. Gorf touched his nose. Who is it? He asked. In a pleasant voice he stole from the Scottish gentleman. "Miss Mush," said Miss Mush from the other side of the door, "I just came up to say hello and welcome you to Wayside School." "That's very nice of you, Miss Mush," said Mr. Gorf, "but we are very busy right now. Maybe we can get together for tea and crumpets sometime." Miss Mush giggled. "That sounds lovely," she said. "By the way, Mr. Gorf, are you married?" "No, I'm single," said Mr. Gorf. "So am I," said Miss Mush. "Miss Mush," shouted Allison, "help! Mr. Gorf is taking—" Mr. Gorf's nose flared. "Did you say something, Allison?" asked Miss Mush. Mr. Gorf touched his nose, then he spoke this time using Allison's voice. "Mr. Gorf is taking us on a field trip next week, but he might need help. Do you want to come with us?" "Maybe," said Miss Mush. "Thank you, Allison." "Oh, don't thank me," said Allison's voice. "Thank Mr. Gorf. He's the best teacher in the whole world." "I'm glad," said Miss Mush. "He sounds very charming." "And so do you," said Mr. Gorf, speaking like the gentleman from Scotland. He touched his nose. "See you later, Miss Mush," said the voice of Eric Ovens. "Take care," said Calvin's voice. "Have a nice day," said Kathy's voice. Are they ever going to get their voices back? We're going to have to find out next time. Our steps for today. Boys and girls, have an awesome day today. Get outside, practice or play, get really strong. Tune back in tomorrow. We're going to hear about chapter 12. It's all about his nose? I don't know. I can't wait. Hey, have an awesome day.